All right. Hopefully this will work. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear and see. Hello, Curious. Hello, Susie. Hi, guys. Hello. I hope you're doing fine. I have my tea. It's black tea, but it's Earl Grey. And it's warm. It's such a rainy, cold day here today. Like one of those, a true fall day, but not in a good way. Because some fall days are lovely, but some are like bleak and wet and cold. Yeah, I can hear and see you. Tea sounds lovely. Do you have one? And I can't wait for mine to be. Thing with tea is that for now it's way too hot. Like I can't really leave my hands on it because it's hot. And then I'm gonna put it there, and I'm probably gonna get one sip when it's at a good temperature, and then I'm gonna forget about it. I'm gonna get engrossed into whatever I'm doing, and when I remember that I have tea, it's gonna be cold. Yeah, bleak is the perfect word. Yeah. It's not as bleak as when all the leaves are gone. Sorry, I gotta grab one thing. But yeah, when all the beautiful leaves are gone, that's when it gets to the most bleak part of fall. But for now, it's bleaker. And yeah, I went and I picked up my lozenges because I have unknown seasonal allergies, and with the medications I take, I could take the antihistamines I used to take before, but you know, and so I've been having a lot of these, and they help. So apologies if I plop one in my mouth right now. I'll try to, make it somewhat subtle, but if it's too annoying, I can also just remove it, so let me know. I'm the same about the temperature of hot drinks. It will just have to turn into iced tea. Oh my gosh. It's too cold for iced tea. We're gonna have to start the heater soon. The heater, yeah. I'm pondering what to do. There's so many options. It's always the most difficult part. I've had a thought recently about my watercolor stash. That is, as you guys know, quite substantial. And there is one thing that kind of annoys me, but I haven't really found the solution that fits 100%. I don't think there is one. Not unless someone has like access to infinite space or infinite budget. But you've seen how I usually sort out my swatches. I have them by brand. They're on 9x12 sheets, and I have the whole range. And if I have a color, I paint in the swatch, and if I don't have the color, I don't paint the swatch. And it works really well to figure out what colors I have, what colors I don't have, all of that. But I've had a thought recently about how it's kind of difficult to view all the same pigment from various brands. And I would usually go online for that, but there's not always painted swatches online. And I was also thinking about how I have some palettes that I don't really use all that much, not because I don't like them, just because like everything is in a separate location, so I don't, there's no like aggregate of all the paint for me to choose from. Does that make sense? And I don't know how to deal with that. Because I have too many paints. Oh no, I have too many paints. I know, but I say that more on a related to space level, like the space that all these paints occupy. That's the difficulty. That's the issue, is that I don't have any kind of storage for all of these. The age-old space and budget. Yeah, I noticed you seemed a bit frustrated recently when flipping through your swatch pages, and yes, I think I understand what you mean. Okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, I don't know how to go about it. I think I'm dealing with perhaps a peak of this feeling of if I don't see something, I forget it's there. Which means that in this case, I forget about a lot of paints. And it's annoying at times because you go to purchase something and you're like, oh, I don't have this one. And turns out you do. At the same time, it's such a convenient storage option to have them by brand, because if you look at all the swatches and you're like, okay, this brand, I know where all of these are. Whereas if I was to, let's say, organize them by pigment, that might be a bit trickier to figure out. So is the problem more storing the paints themselves, or is it about being able to create and store your swatches in a useful way? Or a bit of both. I think it's a bit about how accessible these paints are in the way I'm like storing them right now. I feel like the ideal storage for paint would be a bit like if you had, well, aside from all the stores set up, because I think that the way paints are stored in stores works out okay. But for me, it would be, I would need like a super duper sturdy unit of really, really like flat shelves. Because if you think about it, tubes and pans and whatnot, they're never more than, what, 2 inches high at the most. So instead of having drawers that are like way too big, I would prefer to have more drawers that are much like thinner. But then if the whole thing is not sturdy enough, it gets so heavy that I have a unit from IKEA that's a bit like that, but the bottom of the drawers is just plywood, and I've put pallets in there and it bent the plywood permanently. Oh, I can try, but it's quite messy. I feel like if you expect me to have a non-messy workspace, you kind of missed the memo, but I can try showing it. It's gonna be a bit difficult though. Just gonna quickly check out, make sure I don't have anything to possibly dox myself. At least this is a members only stream, so it shouldn't be that, you know. Okay, so I'll try. Okay, and if it doesn't work, or if it's too, if the camera is too shaky, let me know and I will set it back up. I'm gonna grab my phone, which is my camera. Okay, so I'm gonna drop it. Sorry about that. Of course. Here, under my computer desk, you can kind of see in the back there's bins. And all these bins are tube paint. And gouache backups. And that's one part of this. Super heavy. Then I have this. I have this little drawer unit. Rolling. And in this I have paints here. More like palettes. One is the one with the bendy. And then the last two drawers here are like for mailers, the bag, so not paint related. I switched this out recently because at least I have a few paints in this here. That's most of it. Apologies for everything around. I'm doing 20 projects all at once. I'm doing like I'm mending some stuff, repairing garments, you know, all that stuff, and it's all out at the same time. So sorry about that. I hope that was audible. The microphone did not follow me, but I hope you could still hear me. Yeah, I have a lot of paint. I'm aware. The thing is I have a lot of paints and not a lot of space. We are like two living in this apartment. And like we're both creative, so we have a unreasonable number of books and hobbies and oops, hold on. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's kind of the way everything is set up. Oh yeah, you can ask questions, and if it gets unproductive, I'll let you know. Just keep in mind, like I'm not offended, I'm not annoyed, everything is good. I'm trying to declutter at the moment, which is also not helping with the mess. Because one of the biggest steps of decluttering is making more clutter, and then you organize stuff and then it clears out, you know. Because some stuff goes away and whatnot, but it's the thing is being so limited in space, I always it's like my brain is a pendulum going from wanting to have like 3 brushes, 1 set of paints, you know, 3 sketchbooks, and that's it. And then the pendulum swings the other way, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe you want the minimalist stuff, but also look at this book, it's cool, and you have backups, and all these colors are nice, and you kind of want to keep it. I totally get it, I'm the same. Okay, it's a deal. So, of the systems you have now, what do you like? Not much. I'm neutral. I don't really have a an opinion. I try to keep it somewhat easy to reach when I need to take out a specific color or something. But even then, at times, I'm stuck sometimes. What's the thing I was looking for? There was one thing I was looking for recently, And I was like, where did I put it? Like, this place is not big enough for me to have misplaced this thing this bad, you know? So one way that I kind of like is that everything has its place. And the issue I ran with that, the issue I run into with that is that I have limited space. If I lived in perhaps a bigger living space, I might be able to dedicate more storage to making sure everything has its space. But at the moment, I can't really do that. Ah, yes, the decluttering explosion. It is so overwhelming. And then when you finally go through the whole like explosion part of it, usually that's the time you're like, ugh, I'm done for today. But you can't just leave it there. I tend to do the big decluttering explosions when, on the very occasional times that I'm alone for a few days. That way, I know my mess won't be bothering someone else, you know. But most of the time, I have to make do with, you know, trying to explode everything and then store everything as quickly as possible. I'm hearing that you would like things to be visible and easy to reach so you don't forget that you own them. Yeah. It is unrelated, but I don't know. I mean, somewhat related because it's about space, but I don't know why YouTube limits the chat messages to a specific number of characters. Or a specific number of characters that is so small. You might not want people to paste in like 10k words or letters in there, but to be able to write more than 1 or 2 lines would be great. You know. But you have limited space, so it's a challenge to spread things out. Yeah. Kind of have to make do with either having things out that I would like to have stored, or to keep space for things that I don't use that often, but I don't have another space for them. Because they know about me and my rambling. Oh, don't say that. Rambling is fine. It's always the nature of it that's more of a, you know, like, rambling on its own is fine if you say interesting stuff. People who ramble but say boring stuff, that's when we have an issue. Oh yeah, I absolutely get this. I've been decluttering a lot lately. Still have so much to go through. It's, oh my gosh! Hey, congratulations! A new member joining the family. That's lovely. So a New Year baby. And probably just more and more once he's actually... How many family members is that? You can give just a ballpark range if you don't want to be too precise. That's fine. But just is it the first edition? Is it, you know? Decluttering and nesting. First one! Oh my gosh! Well, congrats! I hope it goes smoothly. I don't always trust my ability to determine if what I'm saying is boring. I get that, but at the same time, I think you're in a place where you have to put that concern on a lower scale because you're with like-minded people. Decluttering and nesting. Oh my gosh. Thank you. So far, so good. Been comparatively so easy currently. Just likes to. I feel like babies and cats have perhaps a bit too much in common. Well, I'm glad it's doing well. And you're nearing that moment in the process where I think a lot of people are starting to be particularly eager for the baby to come out, you know. I can't speak from experience, but you know, I've I have friends that have had babies, and I spoke to people with babies, and yeah, I'm happy with cats and um, two nieces. It's going to be enough for me. Does the baby respond to voices or music? Anything? I was a rowdy one in the womb, and my brother was chill. It carried through. I was an excessively eager baby. I was born like almost 2 months premature. Mm. Ah, perfect temperature. I always hesitate when I make myself a cup of black tea. I'm like, do I want anything in it, like unsweetened milk? Not much. I don't know. Sugar and hot tea kind of doesn't work for me as much. I don't mind it in coffee, but I don't know why for tea. It's just it feels icky. But I'm always like, I'll just have it black, and I always forget how much of a good idea it is to have just black tea. I was quite small. They had to keep me in the like in all sorts of machines. I think, yeah. Basically, if not for the quote unquote modern medicine of 40 years ago, I wouldn't be here. So I have mad respect for that. Seems too familiar voices, yeah. I feel like each time I talk about them, I feel some rumbling. And when I sing, I don't know if that's a mom, please. Perhaps the baby is dancing though. You don't know. Perhaps they like it. I guess it depends on what you're singing, maybe. It's so funny when there's all of these videos online, there's quite a few of really young babies like crying, just crying. It's not working for them right now. And the parents are like, check this out. They put like a kind of a lullaby thing, and the kid just keeps on crying. And stop the lullaby, they put like some heavy metal music like Pantera or something, and the kid just drops asleep right away. So I'm like, huh. Hmm, there's something here that I wish we could ask those babies about, because I can imagine that the vibration of your singing could be a wonderful feeling for baby. I totally believe that singing can be regulating. It depends on who's singing, I would say, but are you doing death metal screamo? Yeah, that might be different, but you never know. You never know. It's just so hilarious to see like the baby just like listening to super heavy metal and just calming down and falling asleep, and you're like, okay, um sure. At least there's something like that works. I don't know. Yeah, we shall see how that goes. I thankfully don't have any rosy ideas, since I have a 2-year-old gut kid and they had lots of issues both with their sleeping and eating. Yeah. It's a bit like cats, but more stressful in the sense that when babies have something that doesn't quite work as you want it to work in the beginning, you can't just ask them. Like they will cry, but you can't ask them like, oh, Is whatever, do you have a bellyache? Do you have a headache? Do you just want to sleep? Is your diaper full? Like, they know one thing, and that's crying. So it's always a bit stressful because you're like, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? Like I remember like I know it's cats, I know it's not the same as kids, but when we had the kittens, it was my first time having kittens like as an adult, and oh my gosh, was it stressful in the beginning. And that's just with, cats, so oh, I'm really glad Margaret's. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, it is sub. Like I know, both me and my brother. I don't think we would have survived if we were born like even like 100 years ago. He was born with the cord around his neck, which is nowadays it's really easy. Like the doctors are right there. They just take care of it right away. Like not an issue. But yeah, I feel like my brother and I are exactly why it's a good idea to perhaps give birth in an hospital. If possible. Totally. I am amazed by the idea of baby sign language. It seems like it makes a huge difference for a lot of babies. Yeah, I don't know either, but um like relatives have like one of Mr. E, my partner's niece, no, one of my partner's nephew, like really struggled with something in milk, and they couldn't figure it out. Like it's such a simple thing, but like you can't know what to expect. The reaction from the baby will be the same whether it's something like that or if it's something else. So anyway, I don't want to stress Susie out either with talking about baby stuff. So perhaps we need to get back to paint. Um. So yeah. Um. Uh. I've been trying to sort of perhaps see about downsizing my interests to less interests to sort of declutter the stuff that I gave it a try and it's fine. I can do it, but it's not my cup of tea. So I can sort of get rid of this stuff, but I've been just mildly successful. I think it comes with the territory of the type of brain that I have, that it's very difficult to just limit yourself to one tool set. I get into those like rabbit holes of like being able to take a regular like a standard quartz watch and be able to shorten the bracelet, change the battery, clean it up, fix it up, open it, take care of stuff in there, close it back up, and so I have a little set of tools for that. And then I have a little set of tools for this, and then I have a little set of tools for that other thing, and then I have a set of tools for that. So sometimes what I do is I get rid of all the extra material, but I keep the tools. But that makes it that at this point I have a buttload of tools. A lot of small spaces suggestion in Pinterest seem to suggest taking advantage. Um, More or less because the this is a rented space, so I can't go digging holes in the walls really to attach stuff. There's a few things that I've set on the wall. If you remember, my brush roll is on a cork board, and there's a wardrobe that has some shelving units in it. There's basically wherever we could put a shelf unit, we've put one. And I try to keep things in boxes so I can stack them. I think we've been doing, decently okay with vertical storage, but yeah, it's not useful if the storage is like behind something. For example, if I have too much storage behind my computer desk, I'll never get to it. Does that make sense? I'm not tall, so reach is limited. Lady, my brain is the same. I understand perfectly. Hyper focus, intense interest that sometimes just drops off. Yep, exactly. That's exactly it. Just left with a bunch of stuff, and you're like, oh, Fred. I got one of these IKEA trolleys like half a year or so ago. Probably the best thing I ever bought. It fits most of my main. Oh my gosh. Oh, I would need. I think I would need like 10 trolleys if I were to try to put everything on there. And then I'd get bogged down in having a trolley or maybe one section for each hobby, and then it would just spiral out of there. I do have one though, and I use it as my bedside table. And it's great. I like the fact that it's on wheels, so we can move it to vacuum, and that's fine. But yeah, I had it in this space here for a while, but it kept being like, you know, put in a corner, and then piles would form around it, and it'd stay there. And a bit like if you have an exerciser in your bedroom, it becomes a coats hanger or a clothes hanger, you know. So yeah, at some point I you know, switched stuff around and made it my bedside table. It's quite nice as a bedside table, to be honest. The tiers are easy access from like all angles, and our bed is quite low, so it's not like annoying. It's the little Raskog carts. The treadmill laundry rack, yes. So, you know what I mean. I'm gonna see about taking some paper out and just doing swatches at the same time, just so there's perhaps a bit of something fun to look at too. They've been moving mine back and forth. I'm gonna swatch this one. It's one of the Metamorphose colors from White Nights that was very kindly given to me. And I've been itching to swatch it, but I keep forgetting. And then I see it, but I can't swatch it at that time, so I forget again. And yeah, you get it. How badly stuck are you? Eh. Okay. I saw my dad recently, and he's just the same as I am. Except that he has a full house to, you know, like put all of his hobbies in there. I keep trying to save up so that I can buy the whole set of these because I really like them. I'm a bit bummed that it's White Nights that has had the idea of these colors because but yeah, at the same time, like I don't know all that much about the situation over there, like how How free are you to voice your discontent towards the the big guy at the top, like. Yep, it runs in families. Seriously, it does. It does. I know 1 bajillion% that I got it from my dad. I don't know. I don't think my mom was always a very thinking outside the box person, but she was not as, uh, like going through phases of focus on specific things. And like my parents are old enough, my dad is old enough that he's from a generation where they wouldn't get tested for a lot of like neurospicy things. So I'm fairly sure my dad has like ADHD or something. I think I have more of just a general hoarding in my family, not so much hobby hoarding. I mean, I feel like there's also levels to uh, hoarding that is not hobby hoarding, in the sense that, like, my dad keeps a lot of stuff that he has not actually any plans for, but he keeps it because he knows it might come in handy later on. From what I remember of the hoarding shows I've watched, sometimes these people, they just, like, the soothing part of the whole process is acquiring the thing, but once they have it, it gets lost in the literal pile. It's like the item itself is not really important in there. While like the sort of crafty hoarding, you kind of want to keep stuff because you want to have all the options if there's a problem that arises and you want to fix something. And I've seen like some hoarders were like that too. Like they would keep a bunch of stuffs in their yard, and they're like, "Oh, this can be useful. I can use this," and that kind of um like I want to keep this handy because I never know if I might need it, and if I need it and I don't have it, I'll be annoyed. I totally get that. Yes, I totally agree. I don't want to blame innocent citizens for what their rulers are doing, so how to boycott the rulers without... It is definitely complicated. Sometimes I feel like it's more of a very obvious line in the sand than other times. Um, but yeah, it's generally not such a clear cut solution. Kind of, this might be useful in the future. I think it sort of comes with having a sort of creative problem solving brain. You see so many ways that... Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think that's exactly it. You see something and you immediately... Not if you don't do it on the spot, you have the enough experience to know that you might be able to use this in a bunch of different ways in the future. So it's worth keeping around. But at the same time, if you don't have a system to help you organize all this stuff, it's just going to get lost in the piles and it's not going to be used. So it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. And I can see how someone can organize when I look at how my dad, manages his stuff. It's not, it's not, it's organized, even if it's still a bit cluttered, Like he knows where most of the stuff is. And he will put like all the he will put all the similar items in one space except for screws. Screws are just everywhere. Everywhere there is a screw somewhere. was telling me how one of his friends came by and was like, "Oh, do you have a screw?" And he was like, "Bro, you gotta tell me what kind of screw, because for sure I have a screw, but maybe not the one you want." Like, just screws all over, which I thought was really funny. But yeah. Yep, when you actually could use it, you don't remember you have it. That's why it's gotta be organized, you know? Like, let's say I keep all of my, all the backing boards from paper pads. Well, I'm gonna put them all in the same spot. And if I happen upon other pieces of like sturdy paper or cardboard, I will put them there too. So I know that if I have a need for any kind of sturdy cardboard, I go to that spot. You know, that's why it's useful. Like, oh, all the extra bits and bobs, well, they're all in that space. All the extra thingamajigs, they're all there. It's if you keep everything a bit haphazard, like mixed up, that's when it gets impossible to figure out what to do with the stuff that you have in there. It's a really intriguing color because it's mostly like this greenish color and orange color. And the orange is a bit more muted, so when you have it a bit stronger, it's brown. I feel like this color makes me think of something, but when I try to put my finger on it, I can't find it. Hopefully it doesn't keep any screws in the driveway. No, I think that's covered. I think that's fine. Though, I don't know if you guys live in any area that has snow in the winter, but for areas that have snow in the winter, very often car owners will have a sort of winter shelter built up in their driveway so that they can park their car in there and they don't have to shovel the whole driveway all the time because of all the snow. And my dad had one. And it used to be the model that is very common. It's a metal like framing, like a frame. And then on top of the metal frame, you put a plastic tent of sorts that is, you know, sewn and built to fit the frame. And then you secure everything on the frame and on the ground. We usually call them tempos because that's the main brand. But yeah, my dad had one like that he'd been using forever. And one winter, there was just too much snow. And the whole thing just collapsed on his car. He wasn't in the car, thankfully, but the whole thing went... And yeah, so you can figure out that the tempo shelter was completely like ruined, but the car was also a total loss underneath the shelter. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, snow is something. That shelter, my dad didn't try to fix it up. He just, you know, got rid of it, and now he has a wooden one installed every winter. So there's that, but yeah. Oh, Finland. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that sounds great. Do you like it? I have a cat visitor that says hi. They're getting so floofy because of the cold. I'm like, little baby, go home. You have a home. Go home. And she's like, no, I want to stay here. We have our car in a garage under the apartment building. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's the clever way to do this. But, you know, me being in North America, why would we do things a clever way? Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Oh, that's awesome. It looks lovely. I would love to, like, if not Finland, a another country that is on a similar like latitude, like same kind of weather, same kind of everything. And ideally, the one place I would really like to visit is Svalbard, but I don't know yet. Like I'm on the fence between if I would thrive there or not. Because there's no trees there. And I don't know why, but it feels really odd to my brain that there's 0 trees on the whole island. Gonna try a less diluted swatch to see if it stays like brown or if it still separates. I don't know why they called it mountain brume, which would be like mountain mist or something. It's a pretty name, but I mean, I'm working on a video with the Daniel Smith triad set that they released not too long ago, and even then, I feel like Mountain Brume describes this color better than any of their triad. I couldn't do no threes. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? To think that there's just no tree on the whole island. I think Iceland is also very, very sparse, if it has trees at all, because it's just too windy. And then Iceland has volcanoes too, so trees and water are something I wouldn't feel comfortable living too far. I mean, on Svalbard, it's an island, so you have water nearby all the time. It's quite small, but it's the lack of trees that is weird. And for the main city, they either have to import their firewood from the mainland, or depending on where you are on the island of Svalbard, there's a lot of driftwood. So sometimes, depending on where you're at, you can haul up the driftwood and cut it up to make your firewood. But there's no trees. So it's just so weird. Like I'm in Canada, trees everywhere. What do you mean no trees? Like we don't even try and trees grow up. Like they just do, and it's almost just splattered tea everywhere. Of course. But yeah, the trees. I mean, you just let time passes and everything the trees drop in the summer and fall starts growing in the spring. Like it's just you have to make an effort to remove some of the trees because it becomes an issue. The top swatch reminds me of a satellite photo of interesting topography, or maybe something like the interest. Yeah, I agree. It's a bit like lichen a little bit. I feel like if you squint. Emotional pumpkin, hello. Hello, hello. Did I say hi to Susie and Curious? I hope I did. I literally hug trees. It is licheny, isn't it? Like on bark or something. And when it's not too watered down, it stays, homogeneous quite decently. So you could definitely play with this color to get a bunch of different looks from it. Okay, I finished my tea before it got cold. Yes. So yeah, I was thinking about stuff, and I think that part of why I wanted to make a channel talking about, you know, paint and whatnot, was that it felt like a way to control a bit of that hyper focus in a way. Like if I can sort of share the excitement in a video or something, it helps me too. Like it helps me sort of remove the overload, the emotional overload of everything, and it sort of redirects it somewhere where it's actually useful. And then I can possibly find people that also understand. And it really helps, I feel like, with the hyper focus element, to have people who also are somewhat part of it. Like if you can talk really intensely and you don't have to explain everything as you go to someone else, that's the best part, because it's like you can just go 100% hardcore, full blast, hyper focus, and the person is not always saying, what's that? What do you mean that? What's that? How does that work? Like they know. You can use any kind of terminology and they don't pause you to ask, what does that mean? I'm not at work for once, so I'm able to join in the live stream, and I'm mad at myself. I missed the first hour because I was playing a cat theme. Ooh, but it was cat themed. We forgive you. I think sort of minerals and rocks. Yeah, it feels like you want this color with other like earthy colors and greens and whatnot to paint a forest or something, or like the tundra. It's a very tundra color. You know where it's the permafrost. Because I feel like when it's diluted, you have that feeling of very light frost on the ground that tints the colors of everything. And then you kind of have this sort of like shrubbery and mud and earthy color. Mm-mm. 100% get it. I have the same urge. I'm glad. Oh my gosh, a second cat visitor. Bro, you're gonna get smacked. Oh, they're getting so floofy. It's so funny. I have a visitor, like he doubles up visually in size in the winter. Just because of the fur. It goes like poof. So yeah, I think if there was a way that I could more easily share my paint hoard, I would feel also better about the whole thing. Um, like I know there's the mail and one can send stuff out in the mail, but it's a sort of a bigger undertaking and it can get expensive. But to have a group of people that meet up and you can exchange dots and pans and oh, that would be like the best. Can you imagine? It's kind of strange if you think about it, but it's called Drop the Cat, where you have like Tetris shaped holes you move underneath very cute animated cats. Oh, that sounds fun. Whoa, I'm gonna grab a. Oh, need one. So I got these as little sauce dish. They're so freaking cute. That's so cute. It's addictive, seriously. Oh, I believe you. I can't have like games really on my phone. Like um it's very hit or miss, because if I have something like Sudoku on my phone, I will spend way too much time playing it. And that's not good. That's not something that I want to do. Like it's not like I'm particularly enjoying myself. It's just it keeps the brain busy, but it's not it's just Sudoku. It's not fun really. So I can't have these games on my phone. Like the only game so far that I've been able to keep on my phone that is not too much of a distraction is Slice and Dice, but that's it. And yes, Ev, an IRL meeting would be a dream. It would be great, wouldn't it? Are we swatching the whole set of... No, not the whole set. I only have the one color. It's Mountain Brum. But I wanted to swatch it and to play with it a bit. See how it, reacts and how I can work it. I've wanted to put it in the ceramic dish to see just how much the colors separate. That's something that I saw my friend Elodie do. And she will put a mix in a little ceramic dish and the colors tend to separate, but to pull respectively like together. So then she can, use a bit more pink if she needs it. She can use a bit more of the other color if she needs it. Like she can control a bit more the ratio of the mix. But so far, this one is not separating as drastically. You can see the separation. Like there's a green outline to the pool of paint, but it's not like splitting up. It is really lovely. I really like it. I was given a gaming system as a gift, and we agreed that if I got out of control, I would hand the controller over to him. It's that time. Ah, yep. Yeah, it doesn't really happen as much, but when there's a game that came out that I would really want to play that like I was expecting and I was excited for, like it was very difficult to do anything else. You feel like you will be free only once you're finished with it. Another artist used that technique with the first card deck. Oh, was it Ludwig? Did a whole accordion sketchbook of sea creature. Yeah, I think I saw the image and it's beautiful. And I kept thinking like how? if it's Ludwig, she's just amazing. Like I'm pretty sure you would give her like wax Crayola crayons and she'd make a masterpiece with it. Watch out for Wyvern. Okay, cool. I remember seeing the image though, because when I was trying to figure out why my swatches were so underwhelming with the Kuretake paints, I stumbled upon that painting. That's such a cool idea with letting granulating mixes separate on the palette. It doesn't work all the time. As you can see with this one, it's a bit, it doesn't really separate, but I've seen it with some Roman small colors and it worked really well. Where you really have like a separation. And also sometimes something you can do, like let's say you have a granulating color that's a mix of two colors. Well, you can have the granulating color, the mix, but then if in your stash you also have the pigments separately, you can bring those out as well. So you don't necessarily have to wait for the separating paint to separate in the palette. You can you know, like tweak the mix by adding some of one color to your brush or adding some of the other color, or, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm so mad at Daniel Smith for their stupid marketing. Oh, that one is separating so prettily. Even the more, oh, like the more, it's not thick really, but it's less diluted mixture has that subtle like texture going, which from afar probably just looks uniform, but when you look at it up close, you can see the more orange parts and the more green parts, and it's really cool. Seen it happen with some traditional granulating mixes, but it works particularly well with the Kuretake colors since half of the mixes are like, yeah, yep. So if you were to do your own mix, like let's say you want to mix a fountain pen ink with a granulating color, you would probably get some similar kind of outcome. Almost anything I mix with chromium oxide green separates our Gansai ultramarines, which I think use even coarser particles, separate pretty. Oh, lovely. I love chromium oxide green. It's such a underrepresented color. It's lovely. Such a pretty granulating green. It's very natural looking. Like you don't need to tone it down. It's not like all the phthalo grains that look so unnatural that, I mean, you can never use them as is. PG7 like is just way too bright and in your face. While chromium oxide green is the exact color of a lawn that is partly dried out. Just a little bit. It's so pretty. I like it so much. It's so nice. Oh man. But that brings me back to my issue. Like, where do I put this color now? I want to use it. I really want to use it, but I don't know where to put it so that I will use it. I think Da Vinci's newish Sage and Amber color uses. Yeah. It's a bit similar to this in concept. The Da Vinci color is quite different in resulting hue, but it's sort of a, you have the orange undertone and the greener granulation. I really wish I could try their color. It looks lovely. For the record, I'm doing a lot of nodding my head and singing out loud, yep, and totally to you guys over here. I hope you're not sharing the room with someone else who's like, are you okay? What's happening? Should write down what the color is though. That's White Knights. Brum. That's such a weird word. pick for, like, they could have picked fog. I think fog would have worked just as well. Mountain fog, morning fog. I don't remember what the other brume color are. Brume colors are. That's so weird for me because it's a French word. So I have to like switch super quickly from French to English when I want to say brume. Because I can't say it like with an English accent. It's just broom. No. Doesn't work. Just a cat, but all my people wouldn't be surprised. Hi, kitty. I really like Sage and Ember. It actually goes really well with. Oh, I saw the harvest set. I'm meant to talk about it in an upcoming news video. I was staring at it. I was like, oh no, it is so nice. And again, Da Vinci is a lot more apt in name giving to their sets than other brands we won't name. Yeah, no. Planning on doing a whole bunch of autumn theme paintings. Oh, that's lovely. Brume only sounds romantic in English in a way because in French, for me, it's too close to brun, which is brown. And brume and brun, brown is not very romantic. I'm not sure I've heard the word brume before. Mountain broom is what the mountain witches fly on. Absolutely. Is the harvest set? It is. If you are in the United States, definitely, I mean, perhaps not now, depending on your budget or depending on how well your wallet is doing. But yeah, if you're in the US, I would absolutely recommend checking out Da Vinci because they're local to you guys, so you don't have to pay any kind of weird extras. And they have a really interesting range of paints, and their paints are beautiful. They're really, really nice. They have really interesting custom mixes. They have the only sort of commercially available partly genuine manganese blue color. That was one hell of a sentence. But yeah, they have a manganese blue mix, I think is the name of the color, and it's still has a bit of genuine manganese blue in it. So not for the people who are really adamant about toxicity of paints, but if you are looking for that kind of granulating blue color, that's sort of the only place you can get it. And then they have a bunch of really pretty colors, like that Sage and Amber color was really lovely and quite unique. They have a couple of mixes that are super interesting, like the alizarin gold, I feel is a really interesting red. What else? Artemis is lovely. We have, if you want a moody granulating purple, we definitely have a lot of options. But their offering in that aspect is really quite good. Their new gold color was also a really lovely, like warm yellow-orange color. I'm a bit of a DV addict. I regularly check out their site to see if they have new stuff and well, they're the most. I think they would be for me too if I was in the US. Because they have really beautiful colors. They have, the standard colors too, like the stuff that no one gets really excited about. But they have some really interesting stuff if you start digging a little bit. And I think they're relatively affordable for you guys, and the ship without issue. It's just a good option. But if you are not in the US, it starts being a not so good option. Artemis is basically a Moongo duplicate down to PR 177. Fortunately, but pretty not. Yeah, and it's not light fast, but you can sort of manage it too. Like you can sort of work around the issue if you still want to use the color. I was tempted to buy a set at one point that they did in collaboration with Denise Sudden, but yeah, almost. Yeah. I mean, I'm just on top of the of the US, and it was a bit tricky before, and now it's just impossible. Ugh. I wonder how much it costs to send dot cards. I don't think it would be that bad for dot cards if you can fit them in a regular envelope. If you make it like a small enough format and they're like quite flat, you can like ship it regular mail. For anything else, it's just too tricky. I know of one. I think there's more, but I can think of one Canadian store that has some Da Vinci colors available. But I don't know how they will be able to restock if they do now with the nonsense going on and all the tariffs and whatnot. Their dots come in a sort of flattened egg carton. Yeah, I've seen it. I think that's a clever idea because it's not very wasteful. It costs $1.70 to send a standard 1-ounce letter from the US to Canada using a single Global Forever stamp from the USPS. For heavier letters, it costs, yeah, that's 28 grams, 1 ounce. Like, I think that sending dots in the mail is still something that is doable, but everything else is a different story. And sometimes it's not even better to like send it to Canada either. Like, I remember sending out something to Canada, and it was more expensive to send it to Canada from Canada with tracking, sorry, than to send a similar parcel to the US with tracking. And I don't know how. I used to have a PO box, but that was a bit too expensive. I don't have one at the moment. But yeah, depending on the situation, like I've given people like an address to send me stuff, and it's been okay in the past. Like I wouldn't do it to a total stranger, but you know, it's not any worse or better than like when you purchase stuff online. I feel. I mostly use Jackson's art when buying internationally, and they don't stock Da Vinci. Yeah. They ship internationally from their site and give you a shipping discount for orders over a certain size. I think you're out a bunch of money. I remember checking it out way before like tariffs and COVID and whatnot. And like, let's say I wanted to buy 3 tubes of Da Vinci for about $30. It was like $45 to ship here. I was like, you know what? Maybe not. Not today. Yeah, I wait and I order from a Canadian store that stocks it to some degree. It's Studio 6. I think they're in Ontario. And they're quite nice. They have the tubes, and usually that's kind of what I need. Like I don't really need any of the special sets or whatnot, but yeah, like it can take a certain time before they get the new stuff. And now, I mean, even less so, but yeah. I think their site is basically the best way to get at their paint from outside the US. Unless there is a stockist in your country. That would be my first search for someone to stock them in your country or in a adjacent country if you're in the EU or something like that. And then if that doesn't pan out, then perhaps to look at their website. But now with the tariffs, even Amazon US is like strikingly expensive with the tariffs now. It was already kind of a bit of a price hike, but I could sort of like understand why, but now it's like, oh, it is separating on the kitty palette. You're right. It's turning the kitty into a tortie. Oh, that's very kind of you, Curious. We can talk about that on the Discord server. But yeah, sure. And I would happily send some dots back or something. Like I like the idea of trading paints. That's what I think is the most fun part of having, you know, a community and like-minded people that you are in contact with. Bringing the conversation back full circle, Denise Sudden's Stormy Blue is a PB60 PR 101. So gorgeous. I would be really interested to try it, even if it's sort of a it's not necessarily a fancy mix, in the sense that I'm pretty sure I have some PB60 and PR 101, but the issue is that PR 101 can vary so much that it makes any mix with this color in it a bit difficult to figure out, because you never really know which variant of the pigment that was used for this mix. I need to check if my local store is it, but there's some items they've been out of stock with for a long time, if that makes sense. I could oh, agreed. I think DV's best PR 101 is their violet iron oxide, and I think that or the Venetian red is the variant that mix. I mean, I don't have them on hand, but if I can find, like, if I have, pretty sure I do, but if I have the Indent Throne from Roman Schmal, we can do a few mixes just to fun with it. My gut feeling is that you would need a kind of a reddish muted sort of PR 101, but I don't know. I think it's part of Denise's opaque set. Ow. Oh yeah, it's just there. Thank you. Thank you for being so there. Oh, I love Caput Mortem. I think Sennelier's Caput Mortem is particularly lovely. It is so, so nice. So I have Indenthrone 3 whatever, BB60 from Roman Schmal. And I took out Indian Red and Hematite Violet shade just for fun. And I'll take another cat dish. How beautiful is this blue? Such a nice color. You can see the Indian Red from Roman Schmal is very opaque, but it will also probably dry much more muted than it looks wet. That's often the case with PR 101, and the sense that they dry a lot more muted and less intense. That's a beautiful color. I would agree. Indenthrone is so... I'm running out of adjective. It's... Yeah, okay, I'm running out of adjective too. I feel like it's... I mean, I've grown to appreciate ultramarine blue, but I feel like it's Indenthrone or 3 is the color I've wanted ultramarine blue to be when I first painted with ultramarine blue. Oh no, I just saw the Da Vinci Violet Iron Oxide swatch online. What's it like? Is it like purpley? Like that muted reddish purple granulating kind of color? I don't know exactly what the stormy blue looks like, but I'm liking these mixes. They look very like useful, like a mix that you can actually use in a painting and it won't look too weird. It's more on the Caput Mortem side of the spectrum, but very intense. Sort of Roman Schmal Caput Mortem. Probably have Caput Mortem somewhere. I picked up a Hematite Violet shade because it was there, but also quite a striking color. I think it is more granulating than the Indian Red. It's not too different from... What's FE? Ferris? Oh my gosh, those mixes. Sometimes I get something that feels almost like cuteness aggression when I see paints that are gorgeous. like them so much, I almost get. I know what you mean. I get. Oh, hello, visitor. I get cuteness aggression with cats all the time. So I get it. Oh, this one is separating so beautifully. Oh, I like it. And yeah, I kind of get a weird, like when I see a beautiful swatch of watercolor, it's sort of like it reiterates in my brain why I like watercolor so much. And it doesn't really do that with any other like paint medium. I see a beautiful swatch of acrylic or whatever, I'm like, that's a pretty color. But when I see a beautiful watercolor swatch, it's like my brain short circuits and resets itself. Let's see if I have a Caput Mortem in here. I should. I think. There's just so many similar PR 101 pans. Keep putting my finger in it. And sometimes they're still sticky because they're so soft. Nice. Here, what about these? Let's see. Oh, Caput Mortem. There you are. Oh, poop. Hold on. The YouTube moderation tool has been particularly annoying lately. I think the Hematite Violet is working pretty well here. I love the Berserk. The Berserkery. Okay, let's see that Caput Mortem. Oh, whoa. It is so solid. It's gonna need a moment to soften up, as you can sort of see. Alright, we're gonna let you sit for a moment. So as far as I can see, you get a very soft texture with the Indian red. The Indian red is mostly smooth. The Indian Tone Blue is a transparent, smooth color. So that's gonna stay sort of like your undertone of your mix, because it's gonna be like the base layer of your mix. Then with the Hematite Violet shade, this color is more muted but also more granulating. So you kind of get that show up more in the mix. It's less purpley, but you get the texture coming through. These are all Roman Schmoll. Then I'm going to try with the Caput Mortem, but it's a bit dry. It needs to re-wet a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of weak. Shouldn't be this weak. That's just the nature of pigments and water-soluble binders. It looks like it's gonna be a bit similar to the Hematite Violet shade, in a way. I could try and grab another kind of PR 101 just for fun. Oh, poop. I don't have the pigment in phone, this one. I'll find it. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I grabbed a double chart. Mummy transparent red. Oh, that's a PR102. Let's try that one too. It's gonna be fun. See, there's not that many people where I can go, this is gonna be fun, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah. Most people, if I say that's gonna be fun and I'm talking about swatching paints together, they're gonna be like, sure. Okay, if you say so. I kind of suspect they will too, Pumpkin, but we'll see. Oh, this one is so orange. That's gonna be really interesting to mix. It's very transparent and very orange, as you can see. But it's still the same pigment number, so... So their PB is so much brighter than Daniel Smith's. Are you using... I have 2 lamps for filming. The colors are a bit more intense on the screen than they are in person. Being quiet, painting some packet cards on... Ooh, that's lovely! Yay! So you're watching paint dry. Sounds... Seriously. From what I remember, I think Daniel Smith's Indenthrone... Smith? I said that very French-like. Daniel Smith's Indenthrone Blue is quite decent. It is quite good. I mean, Daniel Smith paints are great. The issue is not with the paints, really. Like I said, I was doing my like research and writing my notes for a news video, and I was looking at the Daniel Smith Instagram page, and they had this video where they were like, collect them all, and I was like, screw you. I don't I feel like it's really out of touch and tactless to be like, collect them all about your very expensive paints. Especially in the current context. Like, sure, that's what you want as a business, that people buy your stuff, but that's a given. Like, people will buy the paints. Just showcase them well, show how pretty they are, and the people will buy them. You don't need to be like, buy my paints. Meh. That's the part that really doesn't vibe with me. Which bothers me because the paints, they're nice. They have really nice paints. But oh my gosh, the marketing. I love the PB60 from Daniel Smith, but also haven't tried any. I mean, that's fair. There was a PB15 PR101 mix and there was a guy. Oh, and it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's gonna be more green, of course, because the blue has more yellow in it. PB16 is much greener than PB16. PB16, PB15, sorry. The phthalo blue is much more green in general. Even the reddish one is less sort of purple than inland green, so it's gonna mix even more of a green. Bye, bye, bye. Yeah, exactly. And it's just so... It's insensitive, right? Not that you have to be extra sensitive, you know, whatever, but it's just like... It's grifty. That's what it is, I think. Does that make sense? Is that a word? How's our caput mortem? Oh, it has that flaky bit at the top that I will try to... Because under the flaky bit at the top, you have the... Look at that. Look at that load on my brush. Oh, that's perfect. How beautiful. It is so nice. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. It's like a bit in between these two, so I'm really excited to see the mixes with it. Oh, that's so nice. It is so strong, so pretty. It is kind of, though. They're arguably the top watercolor brand, at least if you go by anecdota from... Yeah, but that's the thing. They like, Daniel Smith paints are great, but they're not above all the other brands. They're on par with all the other brands. And what will sort of decide if they're for you or not are other criteria, like the price point, the behavior of the paint, specific formula, like all of that. They're not better than like M. Graham or Da Vinci. But they really want you to believe that they are one step above everyone else, when it's not true. So nice. It's a beautiful mix. Follow trying to be aggressive on top. Top of being on top feels like a punching. Yeah, it's like you should feel secure in your position. You should not have to be so feisty about selling your paints. The TV website says you can save up to 50% right now. I wonder if that's a real sale or if they just overprice their stuff most of the time. And then, I don't really know what's their model, but I feel like it's always been like that. Like they've always have had a, like, just an example, like color, and you have $20 and it's stricken and there's $10 next to it. But I feel like it's always been like that. So I don't really know what it means, but they are generally a good price for the quantity, and it's always the same price, which are great. But that's what I'm... Okay, cool. Oh yeah, they like the Daniel Smith doesn't really struggle to sell their paints. People buy their paints. Like that's not an issue ever, anywhere, all of that. Like people are gonna buy their paints. That's not... They shouldn't be worried about that. But the I don't know. I mean, the vibes were off ever since I started making videos, and I got like around to checking their live streams and all of that, and the vibes were always a bit off, and they never really got right. They stayed a bit off. Like I remember Otto and I, we would go to the live streams that they had, and we would ask questions from our, standpoints of having knowledge about this stuff. And we were talked down and condescended to so much. The level of condescension was, and elitism was like unbelievable. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. And then the Primatech stuff happened, and that's when I went like, you know what? Yeah. See, I kind of feel like the Mars Red is almost a, like, I think if I mixed it a bit better and added just a bit more of the red in it, I would get close to a perfect neutral with the Mars Red and the Indian Throne Blue. And yes, they have so much of the market share that it feels like they are monopolizing things in a way. Like the other brands get drowned out. They really do. And with their sort of boasting of purchasing all the remaining pigments of a specific discontinued pigment or whatnot, it's tacky. Like, of course, you can buy all the remaining pigment. You sell a buttload of paints. Like, smaller companies don't have that kind of uh, uh, like money backing to be able to purchase a whole freaking stock of pigment. Da Vinci is really affordable in the US. Their 37 ml tubes are priced nearly on par with most. Yeah, seriously. And it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, you can get some of the more common pigments for like $18, $20 for 37 ml tubes, and I'd pay same price for a 15 ml Schminke tube. Like a Series 1 Daniel Smith here in Canada is more expensive. Like Chinese white will be more expensive than your 37 ml of Series 1 pigment from Da Vinci. Aggressive marketing is one thing, but condescension is right out. Yeah, seriously. I feel like if you are a company, I feel like it should never be assumed that someone doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, you should never look upon a potential client with condescension. You should always sort of give them the quote-unquote benefit of the doubt in a way. Like, you should be nice. You should not look at them like, they're, oh, you don't have your paintings in a gallery, so I'm gonna talk down to you. And you're like, yeah, well, F you. Who do you think you are? The DS marketing strategy just appears to be very corporate. Their paint is good, their marketing is excellent from a success standpoint, but I want other brands to have a chance too. Oh, can't wait to check that out, Susie. So I'm trying to spread my support across more brands. I want smaller businesses that offer good products to stick around. And if you're in the US, so I would say check out Da Vinci and check out M. Graham. So Da Vinci has a really interesting range. There's a bunch of, more custom mixes in there. M. Graham is more of a I want to say simple, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's just very not basic. But like the range is smaller, the paints are lovely, they're super strong. It's all like the common pigments. They don't have like fancy mixes or whatnot. They offer like a really grounded selection of colors. The only issue perhaps with M. Graham paints is depending on where you live, they might be a bit too soft if you live in a place that is hot and humid. I am biased, but I really like DV as a family-based business. Also done a lot of really nice artist collab mixes that seem on the surface. Oh, that's true. Like all the what's her name? So and so's mother colors. Joyce. I think that's it, Joyce's Mother Green and Joyce's Mother Violet from Da Vinci. And they're beautiful mixes. And I really like their collab with artists. Like Daniel Smith also does collabs with artists, but it always feels like they're just trying to get the biggest names so that it gives them quote unquote more exposure. And even if that's not the case, that's still the feeling I get from their marketing. And that's not something that appeals to me. Most of the other brands that I know that have made collabs with artists, sure, they went for artists that had a sort of a following, but they didn't necessarily just look at the numbers. And like Holbein does a lot of collabs with Japanese artists that we've all never heard of. Sennelier does quite a few collabs with artists as well, French artists. Schminke made a whole release of limited edition colors where 3 of them were with artists. And I think most of us had never heard of these artists before. And then you get to Daniel Smith that has like, Joseph's Book Vix Gray. And you're like, okay. Or like so-and-so's whatnot. And Alvaro Castañet set and blah, 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 blah. It feels very pedantic. Like it doesn't feel like it comes from a place of loving paints and being excited about paints. It always has this feeling that it comes from a place of wanting to sell paints. That is just a bit... Can I remember what each of these were? That was Mars Red, I think. That's the Terra Pozzuoli. That's Mummy. Oh, the Mother Violet is beautiful. They're named like that because they're designed as sort of mother colors, so colors that you kind of mix in some degree in all the other colors that you use in your painting. Oops, fuck. And that's really interesting. One is a green and the other is a granulating violet, so it's super interesting to pursue that. All right. So what do we think? Do you have a favorite? I know these are fairly limited. Like I didn't swatch these in like extensively, but I think it's still kind of sufficient to give us some interesting stuff to talk about. Interestingly, I feel like the Mummy Transparent Red, I expected it to be really smooth in the mixes, but it is causing a bit of texture in there, which is surprising. The Mars Red is much smoother. It's much more homogeneous when mixed in. And I feel like the Terra Pozzuoli is also going to be quite homogeneous. The Indian Red is also very homogeneous. And then the Hematite Violet shade has more texture, and the Caput Mortuum also has more texture. But this one I did not expect. It kind of looks like, we're not too far off from this one. Not that far off. Everything went around full circle. I live in a dry climate, but I do struggle with the M. Graham softness. This might just be because I am uber clumsy. Oh, seriously. And I get my fingers in the braid all the yeah, same. But that's one thing I struggle with a bit. And also, I have the same issue with any kind of softer paint. Sennelier, Rosa Gallery. Sometimes some colors of Roman Schmal, but it's that there's a point that sometimes I run into the issue that the paint in the pan is sort of too soft for my liking. Like, I would prefer if it was a bit more dry so I don't pick up as much when I go in there with my brush. I end up picking up too much paint. So it kind of messes up with my ability to mix the color that I want. But that's it. Well, okay. Romanchmal Mummy is way more orange. It is significantly orange, right? And transparent too, but also granulating. I'm team Hematite Violet Caput Mortem. I love that purplish tone in the mix and the texture. I think I prefer when the mix has a texture as well. So I really like, again, that's something that I say regularly, but I haven't found a color I didn't like. I might be more critical depending on the surrounding colors, depending on the context, depending on the theme of the palette, but there's not a single color on its own that I have found that I didn't like. And I like all of these mixes. Like, I could find a space to use all of these. But I'm always more drawn to the granulating ones because I feel that like there's more happening. And the more stuff happens in a color, the less you have to paint. It's like magic. You just put the pretty color there, the pretty mix, and you let the paint do its thing, and you're done. Hey! I just never put much ground paint in it. Oh, that's clever. Why didn't I think of that? Oh no. First time I set up some Graham paint, I don't have the palette anymore, but it was one of those like really big desk palette. And at some point I changed my mind and I wanted to transfer the paints in something else. And you guys have no idea the mess I made with the phthalo turquoise because it is PG7 and PB15. It's got to be one of the most staining colors in the whole world. And oh my gosh, did it get everywhere. Especially with the soupy paint. Efficiency! Also, I have the same problem with Cindy and M. Graham. Michael Harding. Oh, I haven't tried Michael Harding. I like paints. Why are paints so pretty? Oh. Whenever I try something else and then I come back to watercolor, I'm like, why did I even bother trying something else? This is where it's at. This is the perfect medium. Fight me. They're also honey based, but don't express the soupiness. And then again, the soupiness is really dependent on the pigment. I feel like the cobalt colors are always extra soupy. Extra soupy, genre, like really, really, really soft. And that's generally across all brands, all honey-based paints. Though, if you want to try Sennelier and you are afraid of the runniness, get their extruded half pans or full pans. They don't move. They don't move. It's a slightly different formula because the paint is not poured into a tube. It is extruded. It is extracted like a big block. You know, like how a pasta machine will push the dough through a thingy that makes the pasta. It's kind of the same with extruded paints, I think. They push the paste in through a thingy that creates this long, like rectangle of solid paint, and then they chop it up and they let it dry, and that's what they plop in the pans afterwards. So the formula is a bit different, so it holds together. And in that sense, the Sennelier pre-made pans tolerate humidity and heat a whole lot better. But they take forever to dry. They never dry, actually. Cobalt turquoise is particularly egregious when it comes to being sticky. The Rosa Gallery one, also, I run into that issue super fast. It's kind of okay before you start painting with it, but the moment you start putting water in it with your brush, um, you can sort of scoop it up at some point, which is not what you want. You don't want to be able to scoop up the paint from your pans when painting. That's not ideal. I got a set of the pre-made pans when it was on sale a while ago, but haven't played much with it yet. It is much, much better behaved. The mix of Sennelier's Cobalt Turquoise and Caput Mortem is one of my favorite. I did a whole thing on it at some point. It's just such a nice soft gray, and it separates really delicately between the more muted purple of the Caput Mortem and then the beautiful vibrancy of the Cobalt Turquoise. It's a really nice soft gray. I don't have any Sennelier. They have quite a few colors that I think are particularly noteworthy. But yeah, their main point of contention with Sennelier is their earth colors that are usually not that great, regardless of the range, regardless of if they come in tubes or pans. They tend to be a bit weak, a bit weird, but amongst the other colors, they have quite a few that are unique and beautiful. And yeah, that makes their Caput Mortem is a very like specific hue, and then the Cobalt Turquoise, and you mix the two together and they neutralize, and it's so beautiful. I really like that mix. The McPherson liquidation had a bunch of the Sennelier 21 ml tubes on sale, so I got some even though I didn't need them. Oh, what colors did you get? Didn't need them. I mean, we're well beyond the point of needing paint, right? We don't really buy paint because we need it by now. Or anyway, I don't. Kim Crick's website has some good tips for recommended colors. Sennelier Yellow Light, Chinese Orange. Caput Mortem for its green to start. I mean, it depends on your tastes. I don't think I would go for Sennelier Yellow Light personally. Just because I don't use yellows all that much. But I really like their French Vermilion and their Cinereus Blue. Their Phthalo Green Light is super, like, almost neon green, which is weird because it's not a very natural color, but just looking at it, it makes me so happy. I don't know, it's such a bright, happy green. My absolute favorite orange leaning rusty brown. Oh, really? On. Oh, I have it here. Oh, fudge. No, that's not burnt sienna. That's burnt umber. Crap. I thought I had burnt sienna in here and I wanted to swatch it to see. But I think the one in here is burnt umber. Yeah. Poop. Is it a PR 101 burnt sienna or a PBR 7? I think it's a PBR 7. That's the one thing though. Sennelier got it, if I remember right, they got it quite right for a lot of their earth colors. They didn't commit the blasphemy of having PR 101 for burnt sienna. So that's the green I'm talking about. It is ridiculous, but I don't know why. It makes me so happy. It's just like obnoxiously green and cheerful and vibrant. It's ridiculous, but I love it. I have it like any paint order worth or salt, but I haven't finished with it. It is so bright. It's ridiculous, but I love it. It's just one personal pet peeve of mine is when, okay, according to me, when they use the wrong pigments for burnt sienna and burnt umber. So you know the earth colors. There's kind of three main categories of pigments. You have the yellow iron oxide, the red iron oxide, and the brown iron oxide. The yellow iron oxide are often a PY pigment yellow. The red ones are a PR pigment, and the brown ones are a PBR pigment. So that's fairly simple, right? So usually when you get to a ochre color, it is usually PY 42 or 43. Usually. And then when you get a sienna color, it is usually PBR, a brown. So raw sienna, burnt sienna, and burnt umber too, and raw umber too. Often these will end up being PBR7, like a brown pigment. The raw sienna one can be a yellow one, because it's always almost the same hue as yellow ochre. So, and then you have the Mars red, Indian red, Venetian red, Caput Mortem, Pozzuoli red. All of these red, they're the PR colors. So in my brain, I don't know why, but my brain decided that a sienna has to be a PBR7 or PBR6. It is a brown pigment. Sienna, brown, sienna, brown. So whenever I get to see a brand, the first level of blasphemy for me is to have a red pigment for the siennas. So a PR 101 for the siennas. And then the second level of blasphemy is to have a mix instead of a single pigment color. Because these are all the earth pigments. They are the most common and ubiquitous of all pigments. And you're telling me that you have to mix them to get the color. Like, what? No. Mind you, this is all very, like, irrelevant and pet peeve, but it is just like my, it is a pet peeve. Pet peeve is gonna pet peeve, you know. That green is so bright that it almost makes a sound in my brain. Ah! Okay, reading back over the chat, I have been typing too much. Because I got, oh, don't worry about it. We're here to nerd about paints. Don't be sorry. What? No, I love it. Okay, I know I could look it up, but can someone please explain the difference between English red and Venetian red? For most of our usage, the difference will only be in the name. In the sense that there's no, as far as I know, there's no set rule that decides whether a PR 101 or a PR 102 is going to be a Venetian red or an Italian red or a Mars red. It's just a name the companies like to give to these colors. I don't think there's a particular, like, set rule that a Venetian red can only be this specific hue of color, and then this other one is this specific hue. I think they just decide whatever they want. I agree that it's blasphemy to mix the earth tones. I'm glad. Oh yeah, Indian red. Well, here I have Indian. I have Mars red. We have Venetian red. It's just PR 101 or PR 102, and the only difference between 101 and 102 is that one of them is the natural pigment. So someone went outside, grabbed the rock, dusted the rock, made paint, and the other is synthetic. So someone in a lab somewhere made it happen. Venetian and English seem to be just fully interchangeable. See, I've seen it. I haven't seen any. You say Indian leaning more purple, but I don't think I've ever really seen a clear bias for one to be towards a hue rather than the other. Perhaps that would be something worth looking into, but just like that, you know how you can say that raw sienna has to be a specific color? That's fairly obvious, but for uh, Indian red, Venetian red, that you even have like all sorts of locales. Oh, look at that, guys. That's so pretty. But yeah, some these are some of my favorite colors from Sennelier. Their cinereous blue is so beautiful. I really like it. I know they say there's white in the mix, but I've never really had an issue with the transparency or the opacity of that specific color. It's just beautiful. It's this sort of sky blue color that is strong and vibrant without being really too much. Yeah, I don't think I've set it so that you guys can drop links in the chat. It would have to be on the Discord, I guess. I think the Discord is possibly a better option because it's gonna be safe kept there. Whereas if a link is put in a chat somewhere, it's very difficult to find it again. It didn't slap you, but it didn't post the link either. I can't see it. I really need to take the time to figure out if I gotta have May Green from Minka somewhere. And I really have to swatch it next to that color from Sennelier. Oh, it shows for you. Oh, there it is. Found you. How similar are you guys? It has to dry, but wet. The Schminke one seems to be a bit more yellow, but it might turn out to be the same as it dries, though. Yep, it is the Schminke plastic palette. Stacked with a bajillion pans. It has 27, yeah, 27 half pans. Oh, am I even in frame? I've managed to fit all of my half pan in this one, and I have a palette of full pans. But I mean, if you get the palette and you don't want the paints, you have a few options. You can give them to a relative, like a young niece or nephew that you think might enjoy getting started with very, very good like student grade paints, because that's the one thing they have for themselves. The Academy paints, they're really nice. I think that when I started painting, I would have enjoyed it a whole lot more if I had had Academy paints instead of whatever cheap paints that I got. And then, if not that, if you use platforms like Poshmark, Mercury, whatever, you can try selling the pans. Like, you don't open them, you just try selling them. And you might be able to recoup a little bit of the cost of the palette by selling the paints. What happens if the automod slaps you? I don't think it does much of anything. I think it's just that your message doesn't show. That's the full pans in here. Hefty. I used to have a lot more Schminke colors, but I sold most of them. I sold most of my Sennelier as well. Like, I can't keep all the paints. That's just not something. It's super stressful. Made me really anxious to have all these paints and not use them. And also, they kind of sell decently well, so... I don't even know in the context of YouTube. I'm used to watching streams on Twitch where you'd get a timeout. Oh no. They're nice, but I've already shelled out so much for the artist grade stuff. It feels unnecessary to get even really nice. Yeah, I get you. I get you. But I feel like at least you can... you're not stuck with something that will end up in the garbage with the paints. You know, sometimes there's a... like the Cutman pocket palette, let's say. You know, this one. You can get it from Cutman, but the paints are so meh. It's still like Cutman and Winsor Newton, so you would probably be able to sell them no problem. But the Academy paints, they're really easy to resell, so that's a good way to, like, you won't be able to sell them for a fortune, but you might be able to get a few $20 for them, which will, you know, bring down the price of the plastic palette to something perhaps a bit more reasonable. Oh, it's this. Look, it kept on separating, and it's at an angle, so the green is staying put where it sort of went down. And then the brown is ooh, that's so cool. That's so cool. That said, it's sold out like everywhere, so it's an academic question. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, just to share the information that at least the paints are like, you won't be stuck with them if you decide to sell them for a fair price. Chances are they will sell. That's so freaking cool, isn't it? And imagine you can do that with probably every color that's in that specific range. And I guess that the trick would be to just, you let the paint rests a bit completely flat so that the heavier pigments settle at the bottom. And then when I tilted it, well, I mean, when it got put at a slight angle, because part of the dish is on the mat and part of the dish is on the table, the heavy pigment stayed there and the lighter pigment pulled up with the water. That's really cool. I really, I really want all of them. Ugh, I need to save up a bit though. All right, I think I'm gonna end this here. I think my voice agrees. Sorry. I'm used to being mostly quiet. Like I don't talk a lot even when my partner is here. Like we're not very chatty. I'm not a very loud person, so whenever I do the streams, it's always like uh, I always feel like my voice is shot at the end of the streams. But I've mumbled for like only 2 hours and I'm done. So I can't imagine people who do this for a living, like on a daily basis. Oh, speaking of mixes, referencing a conversation from several streams ago, I have been having a blast mixing in metallic paints into otherwise innocuous colors. Ooh. How do you deal with the risk of contaminating colors? Do you have a specific, like, set palette of innocuous colors that you don't mind if there's a bit of shimmer in there? Or are you just being extra careful? Or do you not care? That's also an option. All right. I need water. I need lozenges, all of it. No, that's not necessarily in the paint water, more in on your brush and in your paint wells. What did they say? They say that glitter is like the craft room's herpes. But I mean just okay, cool. Yeah, but the contamination, like you don't want your, let's say, like I wouldn't want to contaminate my main palette here, like my Schminke palette. So I would have to be extra careful with the brush that I'm using so I don't bring in some of the sparkly colors when I'm picking up paint. Anyway, yeah, again, thank you so much, guys. Have a good night, Susie. Yeah, it is getting late. Oof. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I should stream this weekend, so we will see each other then, I guess, if you can make it. And until the next stream, I hope you have a great time. And we can keep chatting on the Discord. Like you can feel free to message me over there, and not a problem. Thanks. Bye bye.